Hello, this is BioEnchanted, and welcome back to Deadfall, Part 4, as we fight our way through the Arctic caves. There we are.
Let's move on.
I quite like this level. It's got some interesting, although fairly basic, collectibles, but also some neat set pieces that, in at least one case, are completely optional. I quite like that. It makes a more interesting level design to see a place, go there, and realise you don't have to be there. I quite like that feeling in general, but for now, let's just seek out our treasures, shall we? None of them are particularly annoying treasures to get as well, because in a few of the later levels, there'll be some really annoying ones to get. But we'll see those when we see them in a few levels' time. For now, let's just enjoy this relatively straightforward one. But it still has some interesting tricks to it, though.
Going down. Next floor. Swimwear, lingerie, ladies' evening wear.
You go on without me.
Afraid of heights?
Not until I saw that rope.
No offense, Doc, but we have no time for a detour. I'll go first and prove it's safe.
If you don't immediately do the thing, it can be kind of hard to find the prompt again, but there we go. That's one minor quibble I have with this game's gameplay, is that sometimes it can be kind of tricky to find the prompt again if you lose it.
Well, that was fun. Damn it!
So let's take care of these Javins, shall we? We'll find a nice bed and breakfast somewhere. Now we're not quite done in this area, we just want to take care of these guys first. Otherwise they'll be annoying. And they're already being kind of annoying right now, especially with the reload times on these guns. I mean, that's something I really don't like about this game, is that some guns take forever to reload, especially the pistols. Which can really be terrible later on in certain situations. I mean, it's not too bad for now, but we'll see those situations as they unfold. So we've cleared out the first wave kind of Germans. They kind of show up based on how far in the area we go, but if we backtrack a little bit to the beginning of this part of the area, we'll see a very easily missed treasure over here. Now the trick here is just grab it and run. Again, one of those kind of treasures, because as you can see, there are spikes coming up out of the ground, so let's just sprint out there before we get impaled. That was close. So many spears. Got a friend to play with too. I'm a little bit rusty, so I'm not playing the best at the moment. It was a while since I last played Deadfall when I recorded this segment a few days ago. But this is a nice little lineup. I can at least just clip these guys over the cover. Yeah, I'm trying to use the shotgun, but the shotguns are really annoying to use because they have so little ammo before we have to reload, and they're very difficult to actually hit things with. Like, it can be pretty close, and certainly if you hit, they're devastating. It tends to be a one-shot, one-kill, but again, that's if you hit. And as you can see, even fairly close up, the shotgun wasn't doing much when it comes to actually hitting. So before we go up the hill, we have a bit of a detour to take. Around here, this little cliff path. We can actually get here from up on the cliff as well later on in the area, but this is the easier way the way meant to get here. This is a fairly basic puzzle. As you can see, some of these tiles are loose and will drop. Not really much of a puzzle, just be careful where you walk. Again, fairly straightforward treasure, but a nice little set piece. A nice little break from all the fighting as well. Because this level has a lot of fighting. As to a few of the levels from this point on, the fighting becomes a lot more, and with a lot of areas that have like more cover to them, or more twists and turns to the layout. Again though, that's something for later. For now it's a fairly straightforward path with a load of boxes. Sorry about that, hit the microphone. This area can be a little daunting because of the fact that it looks like enemies can come from the left or the right, but they really only come from the left because to the right we can't go there yet. Let's just try not to get blown up, shall we? The setpieces is kind of annoying, but it's an interesting attempt at some more realistic sound design. So it's a fairly general thing that a lot of games do, is the tightest thing from what I recall, but I don't play many shooters, so... And generally the ones I do play tend to be a little bit more arcadey and less Call of Duty-ish. I mean, this one's kind of arcadey, but you know what I mean, like more realistic environments and realistic enemies and realistic weapons is what I meant by Call of Duty-ish. While, like, generally my preferred kinds of shooters are the more unusual types, like, for example, the first of the Shadow Warrior reboots games, which is a really good game. I haven't played the second, kept meaning to, but I really enjoyed the first PS4 one. Surprisingly well written. But that's a digression. Let's take care of those Nazis in the tunnel, shall we? I guess with the overhead decorations, this is what you'd call a rail shooter. See, I was right there, and he mid-first time completely missed. And from the distance, the shotgun's not particularly good. But let's quickly take care of this guy so he doesn't just take us apart from behind. Like a bum. There we are. See, close range devastating, but I generally prefer assault rifles because they have more of a... margin of error when it comes to firing them. Like, you have a lot more bullets that are firing, so a lot more chance you'll actually hit something. I didn't even know that guy was there. He just popped up to say, "Hi! My turn? Can I get shot now, please?" That's annoying, that barrel, because it's just too far away from him to be of any real use. I mean, certainly the guy plays himself well, but it's not much fun for gameplay to not be able to blow him up with that barrel. I mean, what's the point in having the barrel there? It's not even like you get up there yourself. The barrel's just there to disappoint the player, and that is just kind of annoying. It's like the other did that on purpose, so let's just mess with them a little bit. Let's just take care of this guy because he's still sticking around. I don't want to get shot in the back. There we are. Quite like all the dangly hooks, but it's interesting visual decoration. And of course they're trying to herd us in certain directions, so that they can know where we're coming from, so they can shoot us more effectively. So let's be careful about that, shall we? There's a nice little ambush. I like the kind of evolution of this particular segment of the area. Like, they're kind of, you started off surprising them, and now they're starting to really fortify themselves at the back of the tunnel where the big metal door at the beginning of the level is. And that's where we're coming up to in this area. and it's like they're kind of concentrating more and more of their forces trying to stop your advance. It's an interesting kind of the way the area is laid out and the way the enemy spacing is put together. Like here we have quite a few enemies all in a relatively small area, and a few of them in certain pockets there for ambushes as well. It's like they're kind of realizing, and not only that they have to start being more strategic because we're mowing them down, but also like working out how to use the environment to create strategic points. Like example, that little choke point behind us there, where the tunnel collapsed initially. Sometimes there were guys in there. Yeah, that guy was just kind of, he just sat there. This is a neat set piece. I quite like this tunnel in general. But there we go, we've dealt with all the Nazis, so let's open this big door that we saw right at the beginning of the level.
Open the gates, they're closing in on us.
On it!
Now we have a shortcut and they can join us.
Let's move.
We have to move quickly but carefully. If we move too quickly, we'll get crushed by those. If you sprint in the tunnel, they will kill you. So don't. I like those little moments like that, the little cinematic moments like the hooks and things like that. That was just a fun little cutscene.
One hell of a ride.
Now the whole tunnel's collapsed. So that was fun. Let's move on, shall we? We're actually coming up to the big optional thing I mentioned as well. Of course, going left up the big hill will take us to our next destination. If you look off to the right, you can see a little structure. So let's go check that out, shall we? While we're here. And of course, you still need to be careful that you don't fall into things like that little pit on the left there, because that's still a little like hole full of water that you'll just die in and have to reload at a checkpoint, and that's always annoying. Sometimes the terrain in this game can be a little weird. But of course we have to get inside there to get to our treasure. So let's make our way around the structure and find a way inside, shall we? This part of the structure is just kind of nothing. You can kind of jump onto that point, but there's just nothing there, not much point. Don't really have enough treasures for anything at the moment. But it's worth a look. You never know. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, some levels just don't seem to have a map as well. This one doesn't seem to. In some levels I've just never actually found the map. It's kind of ridiculous. This slow rope. And then bam, right into the hole. So of course, here we have a big hole in the wall that we can get into that little bunker with. Let's hop in there, shall we? And of course, to get out again, that door has a couple of hinges that look a little bit brittle in the cold. So let's take care of those, shall we? I quite like that it's not always just like the door's electrified or the room's electrified. They have different ways of locking you out of different secrets in some cases. And that adds a nice little kind of bit of variety to it. Like, yeah, here I've realised, yeah, no treasure map. Some areas I just have no idea where they are. And I think in some cases they just don't put it in there because in this case especially, it's a very straightforward area. there's not really much point to them. Like, some of the treasure maps seem to be in areas that are a lot more sprawling, or have a lot of, like, side areas to head around in and look around and have fun in. This area isn't really one of them. That was kind of an exception. That's a nice little side area. I quite like that structure. But for now, let's climb up the big hill, shall we? There's a lot of build up to this particular moment. For good reason though, this is a pretty cool area.
This looks interesting.
What's that you got there?
Of course, on our left we'll see a treasure. Let's do something very, very foolish, shall we?
That's definitely the worst idea.
I find it quite funny when that kind of thing happens, like when they allow you to do something a little bit stupid to get a treasure. It's like pointing out the whole kind of, it's almost like it's pointing out that whole thing with a lot of these kind of Indiana Jones-ish sort of stories, where it's like, there's some things mankind is not meant to know. You know, like if you look for every single secret, bad things are going to happen to you, because that's what happens to the bad guys in all of these kinds of stories. They go looking for the big bad secret, and bad things happen to them. In that case, it was a very small version of it, but it's kind of like a microcosm for the entire genre. And that's a pretty cute gag as well, in general.
Should be inside the U-boat if they plan to ship it to Berlin.
You two stay here and make sure nobody follows me into the sub. I'll go get the hardback.
As we saw there, we have a bit of a layering issue with the UI, where for some reason the gun is on top of the ammo thing's on top of the subtitles instead of the other way around. Well, let's take care of these guys before we get shot in this slowly descending elevator, shall we? That guy's on fire, so let's get the other guy behind him. There's a lot of guys in this area. As you can see, it's very easy to get picked off. This is generally kind of a tense little section of this firefight because we were stuck in this little cage. But it actually gives us a good vantage point for shooting guys, so we're not completely helpless. It's just a little bit more tense, and I kind of like the way it's put together for that. Let's not stand on top of grenades anymore, shall we? I'm bad at avoiding them in general. I quite like these really powerful guns like this Tommy gun here. That's always fun. It's always nice when games give you really powerful guns just for a single fight, just so you can kind of mess around and have fun with it, and just kind of not stand next to exploding barrels. I got very lucky there. It's always satisfying, like that moment in the second major level where it gives you the anti-tank gun. That was just like, those kind of moments are just really satisfying. I mean, you can just completely wreck everyone's day. But of course, what would a submarine be without being able to go inside one? This level I quite like because it varies the environments quite a lot. You start with the big snowfield areas, and now we have the dark with the U-boats.
Where's that damned artifact?
It's a really cool kind of way of preventing an individual level from getting stale, because if it was just Arctic caves, that would be so boring. But because it splits it up with this little area right in the middle here, it keeps things interesting. course, there's steam over there, so let's take care of that, shall we? Of course, I got a bit more of the operations confused here. So let's not try that again, shall we? Let's learn from our mistakes and use this one first. It's just, it's harder to see that one's something you can do something with because it's black. Because yeah, black instead of red. So my brain just didn't quite register, even though I played this level a couple of times before,
It's gone.
that was something you could interact with.
Arctic Nazi submarine mummies? Any other time, that might seem unusual.
Quatermain, over here!
So there's our little U-boat. That was a nice little section.
Stein must have taken the fragment back to the excavation site.
You are certain it is not there?
Unless you mean a different artifact created by an ancient civilization with a habit of building temples in the ice, yes, I am.
We have to find Stein. He might be trying to find the second half of the heart.
Now the rest of that platform is just somewhere for the enemies to spawn, and this is something I found quite funny. So this has to linger on a little bit. Look at this lighting here. It's just a flat texture. It just kind of rotates as you look at it. It's such a... like, it's not even lighting, it's just kind of hilarious. It's so low effort, given, like, the actual design of this game has a lot of effort in the levels and the secrets and everything like that, so it's funny to have those little environmental moments where it's like, yeah, this game had a definite budget. A little budget. I wouldn't be surprised if most of the lighting was just baked on like an old PS1 game. Or early PS2, I actually think it's that was most common. PS1 they do it too though, yeah. What I'm getting is I think this game has about as much of a lighting engine as Ace Lightning. Given the little flat lights. Which is weird given the whole flashlight mechanic. You'd think there'd be more care put into the actual lighting. But it's a small kind of thing to complain about. It's just kind of, it's only on that one particular model that the texture's it's that bad looking. It's just kind of jarring given how important light is to this game's combat. With the flashlight and the mummies and stuff. It's kind of weird, it just feels weird that that's the one thing you can skimp on. Is a lighting aspect. And again though, it is only a very small aspect, small part of the game. It doesn't really annoy me that much. I just find it kind of an amusing contrast. So let's find our way out that door, shall we? By this little cabin. Seriously, those lights are just kind of adorable, really. It's like how someone who doesn't understand the lighting engine would try and make a light happen in the 3D modeling program. But even then, they'd probably do like a cone. So there's a small detour to go up here.
We'll have a good sniping position from that hill.
Good idea, but hey, when did you become the military tactician?
So back in the actual Arctic area now that we're done with the little base, which is a nice little detour. And now we can actually upgrade something. We have enough light to upgrade our flashlight, to increase its damage against mummies. So now it'll it'll remove the protective layer faster. Which is always nice. Careful, of course, they're doing that old trick again of the little mines. TripWise games are only ever fun when you're the one making them. When the enemies employ them against you, they're just dull. Half-Life learned that lesson with the barnacles, rather, and the trip mines there as well. But those are just kind of tedious to disarm. Almost ran right, barreling right into that one.
If you think I will slide down this thing after what happened last time...
Alright, I'll go first. Again.
This spot's kind of weird with the pacing, but we'll see that in a minute. Not up that way, it's this way, and there's a little area here. But before we actually do anything else, let's go inside the area to get this little hut for some goodies. For example, some new weapons, some nice weapons too, better pistols, a really good machine gun, and some treasure. But of course, they mentioned the sniping position, so let's pick up this sniper rifle, shall we? And use it to take care, before we use the rope, of the Nazis that are hanging out here. Badly. I do not snipe well here, because the crosshairs are a little bit... like, for example, in some cases it looks like they're over the enemy, but they're not quite there. It's like there's no like correction for like if you're just a little like split millimeter off. If you're a little bit off, you'll just miss. It's really finicky with the sniping. I don't really like the sniping in this game in general. I'm glad you don't have to do it much. Eventually though, you do get the feeling for it. I was just checking if you could snipe anything else from here, but they haven't spawned yet, so of course that's the campsite, so that's of course going to be a big fight. Before we use the rope, let's get our machine gun back.
Not good.
Now, this pot's just a little bit weird, pacing-wise. Because now we just need to wait for them to join us in the way they will do, and it's just I don't know what triggers them joining us. What triggers the event that happens, or just generally how it occurs. It feels really strange. Like, as far as I'm aware, I think it's shooting these that does it, but I'm not entirely certain. It's a very strange trigger that just seems like it doesn't really happen very well. Like, we need to wait for something to happen for them to do something on their end to get across here. Since of course they're not going to follow our lead. And we can't do that ourselves, so we'll need to wait for him to get across to pull that lever to open the gate. So we're just kind of stuck here, just messing around for a bit, while we're waiting for them to actually do the thing they're trying to do. I'm not sure if it's meant to be something that happens when you're looking away from them, like a Schrodinger's puzzle. It's just very unusual. It's like... there we are, finally they've done the thing. I don't know if sticking around the base of the area would have given me more dialogue with them. I don't think so, that's not really how it works. But at least they're finally coming to join us now, so we can actually finish this. That's such a strange segment, wait for that to happen, wait for the big like beam to drop. Because I think it's meant to be like, they're meant to be animated on the other side of the cliff doing something to make that topple. But it's just not clear at all because it's too far away to really see.
Tally-ho!
So let's make use of our RPG, shall we? We'll try to do it badly. I'm not very good at shooters in general. So anything with a weird arc, I tend to have trouble hitting stuff with. I've got a bigger one. Grenade fight. Mine has a rocket propelling it. Yours has a wrist. WPG. Not quite as impressive, really, is it? For the purists, I guess. That's what I'm doing, but thanks for the tip. And now it's time to take out these new pistols for a test drive, which I don't believe I've used before. At least on this playthrough. I can't recall if I've actually used them in the game, really. I can't remember those pistols at all. I only remember the revolvers. Those are the ones you always have, the defaults. Nearly dealt with all of these guys, so there's just a few more to deal with. That time at least, the weird hitbox kind of worked in our favour there. I could have sworn I shot directly above him. Of course, with a lot of these cabins, at least one of them needs to have a secret in it. And of course it's the first one. The first intact one. Don't know if you need to blow that up, but I want it for peace of mind. We actually get a new sniper rifle, a new shotgun as well, and a couple more pistols that we can't pick up. That's a little bit of a tease, I don't know what's happening there. Quite a little camp area. It's another way of breaking up the large kind of ice mountain aesthetic, like along with the tunnel and the submarine base. This just gives us a little something to look at while climbing a mountain. Otherwise it would just be rocks and ice and Nazis, and that would be a dull time. As you can see, a lot of areas like this can get a little bit repetitive if you don't know how to vary them up. But that's one thing this game does really well.
Is this the entrance to the temple?
No. It's much farther away.
Then this must be where they keep the heart.
Well, the heart's gone. If it was on that hot plate, I don't know. Don't know how they store hearts. Non-literal or literal hearts. Don't know why you didn't you just use metaphorical there, but and there's another version of like the Northern Lights kind of thing. I think that's just a texture again. Just a big yellow wedge in the sky. Quite like this area, yet again, a way to break things up. While also, of course, adding contexts and like a sense of progression as well. We've gone from the bases and everything like that, now we're at the actual temples.
The mechanism doesn't seem to be active yet.
This puzzle's interesting. See that wedge at the beginning of where we're looking at the statue right now? That is the front of this statue. We'll see that on the other one, that exact same wedge at the front of that one. Right here, look, see? Front of the statue has that little wedge at the bottom. That's how you can tell which way the statue is facing, and that's important to this puzzle. Because of course we need to make both these statues face one of the doors. Like that one's facing that one now. Of course, the corresponding thing will now turn and open half of that door. The left cog opens the left half of the doors, the right cog opens the right. So let's make the right statue do the same thing, because otherwise it doesn't move. Got nothing to open yet. There we go, just need to move one more step. So let's finish opening that secret door first of all, and then we'll solve the actual puzzle and move on. I quite like the animation on it. It's not just doors Or like, there's not just like big stone slabs. There's like different kinds of doors in this game that open in different ways. And these doors, if I remember correctly, only actually appear right here. I can't recall them ever appearing again. It's a really cool thing. That guy was clever, he hit before he went yellow. I do like the animations of those things dying, and also that you see like the other half of the mechanism below here, in the like below deck area. That's a neat little thing to see like the other half of the sets of gears, even if it doesn't really give much information on how the mechanism actually works. It's a nice bit of continuity. So let's solve the puzzle now and open the real door, the actual door, to the actual rest of the level. Facing forward.
Those statues represent soldiers guarding the gate.
Yes, thank you. We know, and if we didn't know, we could have looked at the journal, which would have told us the same thing. Which I keep completely forgetting about because I know how to solve all the puzzles. So I just keep forgetting to look at the journal and see what the sketches are for each puzzle. I mean, I will remember to look at them later on because there's some puzzles that are a little annoying later on to remember without the journal. For a variety of reasons, but a lot of them are fairly straightforward. But interesting still. I really like the puzzles in this game overall because while a lot of them are straightforward, they're set up in an interesting way and have acts as a fun evolution of the mechanics. You always have something to shoot or press. It's just a matter of working out the order of operations. And it feels like a puzzle that would be an actual, like, thing. Yeah, you can work out how the mechanism will be put together, that kind of thing. Doesn't feel too magical.
Stein, we have to get the heart back from him.
Easier said than done.
This is kind of a boss battle.
Kill 3 flies with 1 clap.
Huh?
Different languages, different proverbs, Mr. Quarterman.
Hey, Steinreck! I think you have something that belongs to us. It belongs to the Reich. It belongs to our Führer. Down!
Here we have a boss fight against Steiner. One that we have to be kind of careful about because we can easily get cut down, but this isn't really much of a boss fight, it's a puzzle fight. I don't show many deaths, so I figured why not. To show how easily you can be overwhelmed in this area. There's not that many mooks, but they respawn. I do quite like the flies with 1 clap thing though, with like the, it adds characterizations in that it's not just using the whole 2 birds 1 stone thing, just with the German accent. They actually gave him a different proverb. Like, it gives you a little insight into the culture of the Nazis, a little bit, if you know what I mean. Like, it seems like a very pretentious way of putting it, but it's like, I like that he's not just using like American terms in a German accent. He's using like different proverbs that he learned as a child, is what I meant by that. This is basically how you beat him. Just put the dynamite on the thing and you win. It's a fairly basic puzzle. And there we go.
Beware of snakes, American. They can never neglect their nature.
It's here! The heart is ours! Here. It will be safer with you.
We got the first half back. What next?
With this, we will be able to enter the temple complex. And there, I am sure, we will find the other half of the heart.
So, what are we waiting for?
Into the eternal darkness. Into fire. and into ice.
At ease, Shakespeare.
Dante, actually, Mr. Quarterman.
Sarcasm's not your thing, is it, Doc?
One amusing thing I've noticed about the mocap in this game is it looks more like the mocap marionettes because of how weirdly floaty everyone moves. It's something that I just kind of noticed just now. Like, I noticed they moved it a little bit off, but I never quite realized
Impressive,
why.
is it not? Perfectly preserved within the ice for thousands of years.
This far north? Didn't Atlantis sink in the Atlantic?
Atlantis is a myth, a legend. But there is truth to be found in this legend, Mr. Quarterman. What we call Atlantis today was but the center of a sophisticated civilization, whose people possessed wisdom and power we can only dream
We
of.
clearly dream about very different things, Doc. How come those ancient wise guys didn't freeze to death out here?
The heart, Quarterman. The heart gives life, and life is heat.
And on that, we begin the next level of the firefight, so I'll see you next time, as we begin the Ice Temple with quite an entrance. Goodbye.